right. Welcome everyone. I'm gonna take a quick selfie. Let's see if I can get some of the crowd. Awesome, thank you. So my name is Paulus. I'm the head of the Azure solutions of the factory. It's a cloud advisory company, and I'm also a Microsoft Azure MVP. So instead of all the AI talks that have been here today on this stage, we're now going to talk about cloud for a moment. I am going to include AI in a solution, so it's kind of still a bit of AI. So what we're going to talk about, I'm going to have a chat with you all about what are intelligent apps, how you can add AI to your app and run that on AKS, Azure Kubernetes service. And if we have time left, I want to show you what you can do with AI and AKS. So what are intelligent applications, right? We all know that by now we are in the new era of IT, in the new era of computing, where everything is AI. Lots of things are happening there, a lot of news, everything is going really, really fast. So for me, it started out with GitHub Copilot. And then Microsoft announced that they were partnering with OpenAI. And after that, everything got super speedy with Copilots like everywhere. With the security Copilot, which I think is actually helpful for people to use. And then everywhere Copilot, 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 right? You hear it everywhere. But I now speak with lots of customers who say, we want to do something with this AI in our applications. And they just want to get started, don't think about all the consequences and stuff. So we take a step back and we say, okay, let's talk about the 6 core principles that have to do with AI. Like, we have to think about the privacy and the security. And one of the things that Azure is doing with their OpenAI implementation is taking this a step further in making sure that you are responsibly working with Azure OpenAI. So your data is within your boundaries, for example. But we also have to think about inclusiveness. Accountability, like, do we let the AI make the decision, or do we check what the AI thinks and check if what it's saying is actually okay? We have to think about the transparency. Do we log the actions of the AI or not, or how are we doing this? Fairness, and I want to talk more about reliability and safety. But there's also ways that you can build this in your application. I always advise people to, instead of using curl commands, use SDKs, because they make your life a bit easier. And we want to deploy with resilience. So we use this, or we do this by deploying to AKS. And most of the time, all these companies have this old application that they already have, and they want to bolt on AI. They want to extend their application with a chatbot, and they want to do that as fast as possible without touching the old application. So in the demo that I have, we're actually going to do this. We're going to change, or actually almost not change, an old application, and we're going to make sure that we make it smarter. We're going to do that behind a feature flag, because we want to pre-test it before we launch it to production, and we want to check how the performance is actually holding up. As we expect lots of new visitors to our application, we're also going to think about scaling, and we're going to do everything with CI/CD. So I'm going to do this by making use of a service mesh. You might or might not have heard of a service mesh, but this gives us a lot of extra visibility in sense of the service discovery. We want to make sure that I can find the other applications that we use, and I want to do that by using their name instead of their FQDN, right? I want to make it myself easy. We use a service mesh because we want to do traffic management. We want to make sure that if we launch a new version of our application, we can split the traffic and make sure that this new application is actually working the way we intended to do. Out of the box, we get security by mutual TLS, and that's what a service mesh brings to the table. It helps with the resiliency, and it definitely helps with observability, and I'm going to show you that in a nice fancy dashboard, which hopefully shows us some nice graphs. We're going to do this by utilizing the Istio add-on for Azure Kubernetes service. As if we have to use the open source version or the enterprise version, we have to make sure that we control Istio. And Istio is a beast. Lots of movement parts, lots of different parts, sidecars, control planes, data planes. It's way easier if we can make sure that the version that we use is actually tested by Microsoft. They handle the scaling of the control plane. They make sure that that works. There's an internal and an external ingress setup, so we can route external traffic, but also the internal traffic from our own cluster towards our application. And it works with Azure Monitor, so it works with Azure Prometheus and Grafana, the hosted versions, which makes our lives way easier. And it's also officially Azure supported. So what is this application? We've built a shop. It's really old, it's been there for a while, but we get lots of questions in from people that are calling us. So we want to extend this, and we want to make sure that we make it a modern shop. So we make the shop into containers, and we host it on Azure Kubernetes Service. We add on a database. Of course, we use the cloud version of this. And we want to get some basic information about our app, so we use the Azure Monitor with Prometheus. And because we love graphs, we're gonna use Grafana. Like I just said, we're going to use Istio for our inbound traffic. So it routes the traffic to the shop. And of course, if we want to do something with AI, we use Azure OpenAI. Then we build our chatbot, and we use the semantic kernel from Microsoft to interact with Azure OpenAI. We then route our traffic, but we wanted to use a feature flag, and they now have a new feature. It's called app configuration, which now supports feature flags. And we want to make sure that we can scale out, and scaling out is something we can do with Kada. And in order to prove that, you have Azure load testing. So let's show you some things. This is our fancy application. It's not working. Change. Oh. Start mirroring. Now it does. This is our fancy app. Like I said, it's a web shop. You can buy .NET mugs or t-shirts or whatever you want. And if we put something in our basket, you'll see that it actually works. So it's a fully functional web shop. But it's not a smart web shop. We can't interact with customers. We can't ask a question, we have to call their support team. It's running on AKS, and we have set up Istio, so we get fancy dashboards. This is all happening out of the box if you use the Istio plugin. But we've made a new version of the website where we included the chatbot. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to Visual Studio and update. Oh. And we're gonna update the store to version 1.1. And we're gonna deploy this. You see here that the web is configured. I'm gonna watch for the update to happen. If that's 2.2, then we're good. As you can see, we're now have version 1.1 in our AKS cluster. It's running. And if I now go to the website, nothing changed. I expected the chatbot or a chat window, but it's not there yet. What we have to do is we are now in Azure, and we have this app configuration. Let me zoom in a bit. Where you now see a feature manager, and you see that chat is disabled right now. So if we enable chat, we have updated the feature flag to be enabled. And if we go back to our website, we now magically have a chat functionality. So if we ask our chat, can you tell me more about the products you are selling? Let's see what it gets back with. And it tells us that they have a variety of .NET themed merchandise and apparel. So as you can see, by not doing actually a lot of work, we have now changed a not smart application into a smart application. And as you can see in our dashboard, all the load is fine, the traffic is fine, there's no errors happening. We're all going in the right direction. So as you can see, we now can put AI in everything, everywhere, and all at once by simply adapting legacy applications and advancing them by the use of AI. This is something simple as a chatbot, but you can imagine all the other things that you can do. And one of the cool things that's happening in the Microsoft space right now is that they launch a co-pilot for everything. So if you're not experienced with Kubernetes, there's a co-pilot to exist to assist you with your AKS infrastructure. They can also help out with Copilot for Azure and Copilot for your YAML files, actually. Let me use if we go to the Kubernetes service right now, we can have a look at everything that's running inside of our cluster. This is where the shop runs. This is the web specification. And I can, oh, it's not, change. Here it is. Let's go back. So these are all the namespaces that we have inside of our cluster. The eScope is running. You can see all the containers here. And if we go to the definition of our web container, this is the actual YAML specification of our pod. It's a lot of YAML. You have to know what you're looking at. But I don't know what I'm looking at. So I asked Copilot, help me understand. And I can, I'm sorry, but I can't exist with that. So the Copilot doesn't actually work very well. Let me explain how much containers are there running. Let me see if this works. No, no. It's broken. Thinking. Let me see if this works. It did found a problem. Weird because it's running. But it doesn't tell me what. Okay, well. And as you can see, there's also, here is a Copilot. So there are multiple steps where you can see what Microsoft is doing to increase the experience of usage and help you to interact with Kubernetes and the containers and everything. Does this work? Yes, this works. All right. So in this talk, I've hopefully shown you what Kubernetes brings to the table for you, right? You can easily run your containers in a Kubernetes version that is opinionated, but easy to adapt, easy to use, and hopefully make you more productive when you use it. The cool part is that there's this whole ecosystem of tools and applications around just AKS, which you can utilize to make your application more advanced and easier to adapt by using Dapper or Kada, Draft, or all the other tools that are available in the AKS ecosystem. I'd like to thank you for your attention. I rushed through my demo way too fast, but if you're looking to do cool things with the cloud, scan this QR code, because just like everyone, we're always looking for new cloud engineers. This repo is available at my GitHub profile, Paulus TM for trademark, and I hope to speak to you later today.